Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel for another pregnancy update. I am now 22 weeks pregnant today. I haven't done an update since I was 18 weeks pregnant, so I'm going to give y'all some things leading up to this week and leading up to my appointment today, and then I'm going to let y'all know what I was told in my appointment today. So I guess I'll start with like cravings and stuff like that. I think that's usually where I start. I'm still craving Popeye's chicken, their buffalo sauce that they give you for your chicken strips. That's still really good. Still craving salad, but not as much. I've been really wanting cheesecake lately, and my amazing best friend, she's actually having cheesecake DoorDash to my house right now for a little pick-me-up for me tonight because I still haven't gotten it. So that'll be delicious. So after I'm done with this video, I'm going to devour that cheesecake and enjoy it so much. Is there anything else I've been craving? My kids had Halloween a couple of days ago, and since I am technically on like modified bed rest and I'm not supposed to walk a whole bunch, I went as an old lady, and my husband wheeled me around in a wheelchair all night long, so that was great. I told him that I'm gonna be that every year for Halloween, where I can just like relax and be pushed around in a wheelchair. So that was fantastic. And usually like when we have Halloween, I pick out like all their Reese's and like all the chocolate and stuff, but I'm still liking like more of the sour, salty things. So I ended up eating like the Sour Patch Kids and stuff like that out of their baskets. So that's a little bit different. I did eat a couple of Reese's just because they're Reese's and they're delicious, but I don't know, I just don't seem to be going for the candy that I usually want. And I'm still not like craving sweets that bad, which is good because I think that's helping me not gain so much weight. And as far as weight gain goes, I don't know how much I've gained at this point because I packed up my scale. If you haven't seen the last couple of videos, we are moving. Actually, right now, today, we are moving in, or we have to be out of our house in 5 days. So by the time y'all see this video, we will be probably completely packed and moved out of this house, which is exciting and scary at the same time. And speaking of moving, not last weekend, but the weekend before that, I had been packing boxes all day long, and then when my husband got home, he brought a trailer home from work, and we loaded up the trailer, and I helped him bring out some of the less heavy boxes because I just felt bad. He had been working all day long, and then he came home and had to work more. So I was helping load the lighter boxes in, and then we took it over to his mom's, and once we got there, he wouldn't let me help unload. And I just like sat and watched him the entire time. But once we got back to the house, like I was feeling pretty uncomfortable the whole time we were at my mother-in-law's house, because that's where we're storing everything. But I was feeling uncomfortable the whole time we were there. And then when we got back, after we put the kids to bed and everything, I was laying on the couch and I was like, you know, I'm feeling a little bit strange, and I would be like, oh, I'm hurting, and then it'd go away. I'd be like, oh, I'm not hurting anymore, I'm gonna get up and pack some more. And then I'd start hurting again. I'm like, oh, dang, well, I guess I'm gonna sit here for a little bit longer, and then it would go away. And I'm like, oh, I feel fine now. So it took a couple of those rounds of hurting and not hurting for me to realize I was actually having contractions. They were very mild contractions, but they were in a good enough pattern where it was contractions. So my husband he kept on asking me like, are you sure you're okay? Are you sure you're okay? Because I was definitely not looking like I was okay. And I finally told him, I don't want to tell you because you're going to get mad at me, but I'm having contractions, and I've been having contractions for the past hour. And he was like, sit your butt down, don't do anything, like go to bed, relax. So I did that, and I had contractions for about 3 hours. So I know that's because I was being stubborn and wanting to do more than I was supposed to be doing. So that kind of told me that, you know, as much as I would like to help, as much as I would like to be there for him and be an asset for him, that I was just going to have to slow down regardless. So I have still packed slowly over the last 2 weeks, but I haven't been doing any heavy lifting or any moving of the boxes. Like when my husband comes home, there'll be just boxes scattered around the house, and he takes them off to the garage until we're ready to take them to my mother-in-law's house. But yeah, so stubbornness strikes again. So symptom-wise, I have been dealing with insomnia pretty bad, like almost every night. Like if I wake up with my 2-year-old, he usually wakes up 2-3 times a night still and wants more milk. So when I get up with him, I'm not able to fall back asleep. And I usually just lay there for a couple of hours with my mind racing. It just won't shut up. So that's annoying. And like I'm just still tired during the day, but not as tired. But when I'm able to get little naps here and there, I still take them. I'm going to enjoy them while I can. But I just don't feel as tired during the day. But I think that the only reason I'm still feeling tired at all is because I'm not sleeping that well at night. And I don't really want to take anything because the one night that I did take Tylenol PM, I had restless leg, like really bad. And I just don't want to have to deal with that. And I don't know if that like caused it or not, but it was there. So it was enough for me not to want to have to go through that again. So I really don't want to take anything to sleep better. So I'm just, I don't know. I just try to keep the TV off, try to stay off my phone, and just go back to sleep as quickly as I can. Besides the insomnia, I've been having a lot more round ligament pain. Like if I like move too quickly, it really hurts. And I have to be like, let me recover for a few seconds. And then everything's fine. But I think that's just because, you know, baby's growing, things are stretching and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely round ligament pain. I feel so much heavier during this pregnancy than I did in my other ones. And I feel bigger, like earlier on than I did with the other ones. And that could be because I have a posterior placenta this time. So the baby's just like all out front. And she's actually measuring like on track with like where she's supposed to be. But my sons always measured like 2-3 weeks ahead. They were bigger babies. But I just feel so dang uncomfortable. And like my hips hurt. I have to sleep with a pillow between my legs still because it's just really uncomfortable for my hips. And like when my knees touch, my knees hurt. And my pelvis has started popping, so that's really cool. As I mentioned in my previous video, I'm not going to go to the chiropractor and like get an adjustment or anything, just because for one, I do not have anyone to keep my children that often. And also, like I've had so many doctor's appointments and ultrasounds with this pregnancy, it's getting really expensive. And like I'm not going to like jeopardize our health just to save money. But also, like, it didn't help that much in my previous pregnancy, so we're just going to avoid it for right now. If I can get through it with just a couple of aches and pains here and there, I think I'm going to be fine. So the other symptom I've been having is itchiness. You've probably noticed me scratching, like I'm itching right now. And at first, I was like, it's just winter itch. And it usually gets really bad after my shower at night and I lay down, and I was thinking, you know, it's just because I'm using really hot water and my skin's just dried out. So that brings me to my doctor's appointment today. I mentioned it to the ultrasound technician that, you know, is extreme itchiness a thing with pregnancy? And she asked, like, you know, where am I itching? And I told her pretty much my extremities, my stomach, my hands. A couple of nights ago, the bottom of my foot was like burning, itching so bad. So told her all of that, and she's like, it's definitely something you're going to want to mention to the doctor when she comes in. And like I have like a little bit of a rash up here, but I think that's because I've been itching and like bringing the blood, you know, to the surface right here, but it's not like that bad. So she said that she does agree that it's probably from me just scratching and that's what's making that rash. But when I mentioned it to the doctor, she immediately said that that is a definite sign of cholestasis in pregnancy. And if you've never heard of that, it's also called ICP. So how she explained it was that, you know, your body produces bile all the time, but your liver and your gallbladder, they rid your body of that toxic bile, and it's usually not a problem. During pregnancy, sometimes I think she said your gallbladder stops functioning the way it's supposed to, and you get a buildup of these toxic acids in your bloodstream, and it deposits like salt underneath your skin, and that's what makes you itchy. And one of the main symptoms is itching on your hands and itching on your feet. So she said that it was concerning enough that I was itching this early on without a rash, and that she wanted to send me to get blood work done and get my levels checked. So a couple of things might like hurt my levels. I hadn't eaten at all today yet, and so that might affect my levels. And also she said that you could have your levels checked and you just be like at a low point and it looked like you don't have cholestasis, and then after you've eaten a couple hours later, the levels go up, but they just didn't catch it. So hopefully the labs are correct, whichever way they come back. But in the meantime, because I don't see my actual OB until next week, she told me to try unscented body wash, unscented lotion, and Benadryl, and see if any of those things help. And if they do help, it's probably winter itch or some kind of dermatitis or something like that. But she said that if it does come back that I have cholestasis, that they would put me on a medication to help keep the levels lower of the toxic acids. And the main thing that is very concerning about having this in pregnancy is as your pregnancy goes on, those levels rise higher and higher and higher. And if they get to a certain point, it could actually kill the baby because it attacks your baby and pretty much poisons it. So that is definitely scary and concerning. I'm hoping that it's nothing. I'm hoping that I'm just itchy because of something else. But I'm glad that I mentioned it. I'm glad that I didn't just ignore it. And I wouldn't have even known that it was a thing unless I had been following Lex Fitzgerald. Her channel over here on YouTube is Fitzgerald's Vlogs, I think it is. And I follow her on Instagram as well, and she literally just went through this with her pregnancy and just had her baby like a week ago, and her levels got to a point where she had to be induced. So that is the cure for this, and there is no other cure pretty much but to get the baby out. If my levels are low and I'm confirmed case of this, they would just keep a close eye on baby. I would have extra growth scans because it can restrict growth. I would have what are they called, non-stress tests to make sure that the baby is healthy and moving around fine in there and everything. So just more tests and more doctor's appointments, which is fine, because it is between that and possibly losing my baby because we're not monitoring close enough. I would much rather monitor very, very closely. I'm very thankful that I have very over-vigilant doctors and that they listen to me and that they are willing to test for things even if, like, for sure I might not have anything, if that makes any sense. So very thankful for my medical team. So if I don't have this, we carry on with pregnancy as normal. If I do have this, then that means that I will be delivering the baby between 36 and 37 weeks, because the chance of me having a stillbirth after 37 weeks greatly increases. So I would probably be induced a little bit early, but if you've been following my story, you know I have my babies early anyways, so I wasn't really like concerned about having her early. we would just be like more prepared for it. And I've never been like officially induced, but I mean, if that's what it's going to keep her safe, then we will definitely do it. So it's just another thing to consider. And I would get the hormone shots to develop her lungs quicker and stuff like that. And we would just keep a very, very close eye on baby girl. So that was the first thing that we talked about and I found out about today. The second thing was after, the ultrasound tech does her job, the doctor always comes in, and the doctor told me before she even looked at me, she said, baby's measuring at 1 pound, 1 ounce. She looks great. She has a great movement. All of her organs look great. She looks healthy. She's right on track. She's measuring in like the 58th percentile. So everything's good on that front. And then she went to check my cervix length because they're keeping an eye on that because of the LEEP procedure and everything. So she measured my cervix, and then because the baby's feet are like right up against my cervix right now. And then she started going up to the feet and taking pictures from this angle, moving a little bit, taking another picture, shaking the probe to try to get the baby to move, and she would move into another position. But she spent a lot of time on her feet. And then she told me that she hopes she is being overly cautious, but her right foot looks completely normal. It looks like it's in the right position, but her left foot looks like it's slightly curved in. And what that means is that she could have a clubbed foot. She said that if she does, it looks like it is very minor at this point. And she, again, reiterated, I hope I'm being overly cautious, but I would rather look really closely and be sure than ignore it. So she kept checking. She looked from like the bottom angle, and she said from the bottom the foot looked fine, but from the side it just looked a little crooked in. But she said that it could be the position of the baby. It could be because she's just, curled up in there. It could be nothing. But it's something to also keep an eye on. So I'm going to go back in 4 weeks to have a growth scan done, just in case I do have cholestasis, and to also check on her little foot to see if it looks for sure if she has a clubbed foot or not. And she said that she is not officially diagnosing it as a clubbed foot, but she is noting it in my chart that it's something that we need to keep an eye on. So yeah, that's where we are. So having said that, I know that a clubbed foot does not affect the other parts of her body. It doesn't mean that she's going to have a low quality of life or anything like that. A clubbed foot can be fixed. It's a very manageable thing. It's just going to be a hurdle that she's going to have to get over, which is completely fine. But I don't want my baby to have surgery or limitations. So I am concerned about it, but I'm trying not to let myself worry about it because, again, it's not confirmed. But also I'm going to have to just hold on to that information for the next 4 weeks and not know anything else. So, I don't know. As far as the cholestasis goes, that's a little bit more scary, but I'm actually not as worried about that part. But I mean, that's the more scary one because it could potentially kill the baby, and that's very scary. And I feel like I had 1 month of relief and not worrying, because they just confirmed that my placenta previa cleared up and that my placenta moved, and I was like, feeling all good about that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be able to have a vaginal delivery. I'm not gonna have to have her early. And now we're back to, you still might have to have her early, and it's even more scary. And my body could be potentially poisoning my baby. And I can't help but think, like, why can't my body just be a healthy home for my kids? Because in every pregnancy I've had something. It makes me just feel guilty that I wasn't a better home for them. And I know I'm doing everything I can to make sure that they're growing and they're healthy, but I feel responsible. I'm trying not to be hard on myself. I know it's nothing I did. It's nothing I can prevent or make better. It's just one more thing, you know? And obviously, if I could choose, I would have nothing wrong. I would be able to be fully active and do all the things. I would have nothing medically wrong with me that would harm my baby. I wouldn't have anything wrong with my baby that she's going to have to deal with. But sometimes that's just not how it goes. But I'm just trusting that my faith is going to get me through this, because even getting this news today, of course, I'm worried. I literally just got a few hours ago, so I'm still processing. But also, I still feel at peace, and I feel like this baby girl is going to be fine. She's going to make it earthside here with us and get to be a member of our family. And if she has a clubbed foot, then it's not going to change the way we feel about her. We're going to give her the best medical care possible to help her through that. But it's like with all the other stress that we are having right now in our lives, with the house, and we were already worried about the placenta previa thing. It's just one more thing to deal with, and it's hard. So of course I will not know for sure about the cholestasis for at least a week, and it could still not even be confirmed after that if they didn't catch my levels at the right time. But I'm going to try all the unscented soap and lotion and Benadryl and see if that helps. If it does not and my itchiness continues to get worse, they can diagnose me simply off of symptoms. As far as her little foot goes, we will not know anything until my next ultrasound, which is not until December 2nd. So we're just in the waiting game at this point. And I'm going to try my best to stay as positive as possible in that time. We're going to be saying lots of prayers for me and this baby. Regardless of all of this, every time this baby moves, it's like a reassurance that she's telling me, Mama, I'm strong and I'm okay in here. And I just hope that she continues to be this active little girl inside of me, because she's extremely active. And that's such a blessing, because it lets me know that she's alive and that she's still in there and she's okay. So I really hope that I have a more positive update for y'all next time. If either one of these cases are confirmed, I'm going to have more information in my next video about them. So as of right now, I've had very little time to process and very little time to Google and research and all of that. So I'm trying my best to not go down the Google rabbit hole with this and worry myself even more. But we'll know more in a few weeks, I guess. And until then, just if you are the praying capacity, say a prayer for me and for my baby. And I guess I'll see y'all on the next one. But really quickly, let's show you baby girl, because my stomach has definitely gotten bigger. Sorry about my setting today. Really didn't feel like sitting at my desk, and I actually packed my tripod. So we're just in my bed being comfy. Just being low key today. And here's my belly. Definitely getting bigger. Getting much bigger. And from the front, it doesn't even look like that bad. Then you turn to the side. You're like, yep, there's a baby in there. So I'm going to leave this video at that. I don't know what else more to say. I don't know anything else to say because I don't have any more information. But we'll just see. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.